Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the TCT podcast here on YouTube. My name is Gavin Campbell. Alongside me, as always, my two good friends, Tyson Snyder and Cale Fleming. Today, joining us once again, a reoccurring guest on the show, Jake Stevenson from McKendree University. Jake, welcome.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having you guys here. Thanks for coming to the game, too. I know we'll get into it, but I appreciate it again.
Oh, no problem. And as Jake alluded to just now, we went and saw his game against the Bowie State Bulldogs on Saturday at McKendree University. Came up a little short in that game, but it was a hard-fought one. Definitely enjoyed it. I think the final score was 47-41. Correct me if I'm wrong.
47-41.
Absolutely. Yep. And getting into that, Jake, that quarterback, Amir, really gave you guys a run for your money. It was a hard time for the defense containing him. But ultimately, it came down to the wire. You guys still coming up short. Just give me your overall thoughts and your knee-jerk reaction to that game on Saturday.
Oh, I mean, today we had our meetings. We're going to have more meetings, and we're going to talk about it, and then we're going to move on to the next week. You talked about it. Their quarterback was a stud. Ours was too. I don't know if anybody saw. Reese Metcalf was GLVC Player of the Week with 6 touchdowns, 354 yards, something like that, career high. So it was definitely a shootout. And, our defense went against a tough team, and they played well, especially second half. If you look at the second half numbers, they really brought it. And that was why we were able to actually come back in that game and make something happen. So those guys, they knew it was up to them, and they put it on the line, and I'm proud of our defense. And, I trust them in any game. So I know the numbers won't shake out the way it looks, but those guys played hard. And like I said, offense, we found something. We got clicking, and Reese, we kept Reese clean the whole game. They had some good defensive line, and we didn't let them have a sack. That was a goal for our offensive line. So all in all, I felt like we played a good ball game, but we had to hit our stride, and I think we should see that coming up soon.
Jake, Saturday, it was hot. Man, it was real hot. I know it wasn't near as hot as it was 2 weeks ago when you guys kicked off your season, but tell me a little bit about it, because it was like 85 degrees with like 90 or 95% humidity. So tell me what it's like, from a player's standpoint, especially yourself being on the offensive line down in the trenches on every play. Tell me what it's like battling that heat.
Well, that's why a lot of our guys stay in the summer. We try and get as many guys as we can, get acclimated to the weather. That's what we get all summer long here in Southern Illinois. I didn't even know the difference would be that big coming from, Paxton in the middle of Illinois down to the south, but it's a huge difference. Humidity's tough. We play on that newer turf, so it gets even hotter down there on the turf. And it definitely sweating. You got guys losing a lot of weight with water. We're always putting it back in. But it's definitely a different monster. Being offensive line, there's 5 of us, and we're going to play our 5 as long as we can. But the other side, the defensive line is going to rotate players. So it's definitely a battle being able to take on guys who are fresh off the bench. But that's why we've had the offensive line whole unit stay several summers in a row. We pride ourselves on that. And so at the end of the day, it's just not up or shut up, get the job done. And that's what we did. I thought we protected well, like I said. And we like to put it on our shoulders, put it on the line. And we think we're the heartbeat of the offense, and I think it showed for the most part. So we can play pretty well in the heat. That's one thing that opposing teams aren't ready for, and we usually thrive in it. So you can see that teams start to wear down in the second half, and that's when we really hit our stride.
Absolutely.
Did you change your jersey at halftime?
I wish I mean. It turns black, but out.
Yeah, we could definitely see you guys were a little wet down there. Jersey started changing colors and whatnot. But yeah, definitely hot. And we could see, like you were saying, it starts to wear teams down, that heat. It was a tale of two halves. You guys definitely hit your stride in that second half. They slowed down. But yeah, it ended up making the game really close. And I think you're right, that heat played a big factor. You guys play well in it.
Oh, for sure.
All right, sticking with the offense here, Jake, I got a question for you. Your guys' junior receiver, Matt Cole, had a heck of a game on Saturday. What kind of leadership role does he play within the offense? I know you touched on the offensive line there, and you guys really set the tone for the rest of the game. But what does it speak volume having a guy like that on your offense?
Okay, Matt, he came in same class as me, and he played right away. That dude is dumb fast. He's got wheels for days, makes fast people look not fast. All those things we talk about. He runs like a 4.2, 40. He's got wheels, and he's strong. He squats just as much as I do. He benches, cleans, crazy weight. And so when I see Matt Cole one-on-one with somebody, I know he's going to break a tackle. It's just, he just gets that ball in his hands, he can do something. And we've got other wide receivers. Jalen Williams caught touchdown. Josh Hervey caught 2. And those guys are just on the edge. I'll take them over anybody. Those guys are studs. By the way, a little plug. Everybody vote Jalen Williams D2 play of the week with his one-handed touchdown catch there in the third quarter, I believe.
Yeah.
So definitely get that out there. And all those receivers, and then Zach Bobo's playing tight end. Those guys make catches, and you saw Bobo's make a good catch. And those guys, I trust them, and Reese trusts them, and you can see it pays off as a whole unit. So those guys are all studs. I love them all.
So going off the heat, you're going off of the playing on turf. I just kind of want to know, Jake. Let's see. What's the question I want to ask? I had it off the top of my head, but then all of a sudden I hit a wall. Yeah.
Hitting a wall on air. It's always fun.
So we were talking about it off air. Me and Tyson were talking about it on the way home on that 2.5-hour drive, which is always fun. You get some time to reflect about the game that we did get to see. I just want to ask you, Jake, is that the best quarterback that you guys see all year, or do you guys see anybody that's any better or same? Or because that quarterback, I mean, that one was it the third quarter when he took off on that 65-yard run.
Yeah, in the whole first half, he picked that defense apart, put up 35 in the first half.
So what I'm asking is I just want to ask if that's the best quarterback that you guys are more than likely going to see the rest of the year.
I tell you what, I mean, if it's not him, there's few better. And, you look at we got some in-conference quarterbacks that are pretty good, guys at University of Indianapolis and guys at Missouri S&T that can sling the ball. So if nothing else, if you see somebody that good, it makes you prepared for good quarterbacks in conference. But he's one of the best. He was a cerebral quarterback. He knew everything. He was in control of the game. Me as on the sideline, I looked like he was even calling his own plays at times, and I can't speak on that 100%.
Right.
But that dude, just a smart player, small ball player, knew where he was going with the ball. If it wasn't there, he didn't force anything really. He was looking for the open man at all times. So I was impressed with him. We knew coming in he was going to be a good quarterback. He's a top nationally ranked guy at Division II level. And I know for sure he's one of the best, if not the best, that I've ever seen out here. And I was impressed, no doubt.
Oh, he's definitely good. There's not very many quarterbacks that coaches let call their own plays. Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Ben Roethlisberger. That's about it. But that's your first loss of the season there, Jake. It's a tough loss. How do you kind of foresee the rest of the season going here?
Oh, we talked about it as a team, and we're going to build from this. Like I said, we had team meetings this afternoon to really get coaches' final opinions on it and then move on to next week. But, you saw a lot of toughness, no quit in our guys. We didn't, give up till the clock was out, and even when the clock was out, we were still scoring. So, I think it was a good, maybe a shot in the jaw so we can know, maybe we got things to improve on. And we're going to take it into conference here. We play away in North Carolina this week, but then we get into conference, and we're going to really look to do some damage and get our spot at the top of the conference like we expect to. But definitely, it hurts. I'd like to be 3-0, but a game like that, you find out who you are, you find out what you're made of. So it was good from that sense for sure.
Speaking of figuring out who you are and who you're made of, obviously at the Division II level, you guys probably don't use airplanes to travel very much. You guys are going clear to Murfreesboro, North Carolina, I believe is where that school is at. So when you're traveling that far, more than likely on a bus, Jake, how does that play in with your mental psyche and your physical psyche, you personally?
Well, for me, we've got a lot of time to get locked in. So early in the bus ride, it's all about staying loose, not getting too in my own head. Like every program on the bus will have movies and whatnot. You're taking trips to gas stations, shit like that. So you gotta be focused in. You gotta be locked in. But also you can't get too worked up because we're gonna leave on Thursday. We don't play till Saturday, so there's a lot of time to worry between then. You don't need to get yourself too worked up early. So I like to stay loose. With my guys, talk football, but also just have a good time. And then come Friday, lunchtime into nighttime is when we start getting really focused, locked in. We go through our team stuff, and by Friday night we're all ready to play. And then Saturday, we have a lot of focus, a lot of guys listening to whatever gets them going. Do their praying or whatever they need to get locked in. But it's a build up. We try and build up to it, and our focus just gets better and better every hour that goes by.
One last question here, Jake, I have for you. During the game, sometime in the third quarter, when you guys were down and Bowie State had scored another touchdown, I'm not sure if you were on the sideline when this happened, but I believe it was number 13, Corey Harrell, that was on the sideline trying to talk up the team. He was really enthusiastic, really intense about it. Were you there for that encounter?
Oh, I mean, it was all across the board. There wasn't any quitting any guys. Corey's a good vocal guy, and you saw him come make a play on those last drives, make a good catch, and break some tackles. And all of us were just saying, it doesn't matter what happens on the field. We do our job. We do our 111th, and we're just going to keep putting points on the boards in offense. Defense is, when they're getting their rest, they're saying they're going to get their stop. So from that point, I didn't have any quitting a lot of guys. I saw it at halftime. We knew that they were a team, Bowie State, that had given up some leads early in the season already, and we knew that with the heat, with our mental stability, our wherewithal, that we were going to come back. So there, like I said, Corey's one of them, but everybody's vocal. Everybody's talking about doing their job and just getting points on the board and getting stops and just taking it one play at a time. That's our little motto for our team, one time. And, we were down 41-13. We knew we can't score 30 points on one play. We knew it was going to take a play at a time, drive at a time, score at a time. So one time is our mantra, and everybody was with it, no doubt in my mind. And like I said, Corey's one guy, but all sorts of guys were talking. We have a good team, good leadership on the team, and definitely he was one of them.
Real good, one time.
Jake, I've got one last question for you as well. Going back to the first quarter, you guys scored with 7:15 left in the first with that 62-yard pass from Metcalf to Matt Cole. I want to ask you about that PAT attempt with Josh Lazaro. What happened exactly? Because we had a bad angle on it. We couldn't really see the
I swear to God, it went through.
Where we were sitting about halfway down from the press box on the 50-yard line, and it looked like he centered that. So, can you kind of explain to us what happened with that PAT attempt and why it was bad?
Being on the PAT team there, we were having some issues with the setup, with the play, with the officials, both teams. So there was a lot of confusion, and something somewhere or another caused the operations to be a little bad. Obviously, I'm getting 3 guys on my chest, so I didn't see exactly how it went down from them, but pretty much I get to the sideline and I get told whether it was good or not. So I don't know about the kicking operations, but I know that there was some hubbub, some back and forth, and things like that. So it definitely wasn't a standard environment for our kick. A lot of different things moving around. So something that we can work on and just, we do our part. We get ready when the referees want to give us the balls, when they want to give us the ball. And we just try and have a swift operation, snap, hold, kick. And like I said, it's something we work on as a unit, and we're going to practice it. I don't get to see it, unfortunately. Usually I'm either on my butt or trying not to be on my butt. So I just do my part and hope it goes through. So, that's a tough one. But like I said, we're on to Shawan here in Murfreesboro. We're going to have a 15-hour bus ride. And we're going to come to play, and we're going to come to win. Shawan's from Bowie State's conference, so we're going to have a similar type atmosphere, similar type players, recruit from similar areas. So we're going to take what we learned last week and put it to this next week and try and get a W.
Jake, I really appreciate it. You taking time out of your busy schedule, and we know you got classes. You're a student athlete. You got to stay, academically eligible and everything else with your homework and whatnot, as well as team meetings. It's actually 3:37 on Monday the 17th, and Jake's got a team meeting in like 20 minutes. So, Jake, I really appreciate it taking time out of your day. Give us a little recap of your game. We'll be back sometime this season before you're done for sure. That's good football. I really like watching it.
Absolutely, yeah. We really enjoyed watching
game
it.
Against Quincy, I'd like to see a lot of people out there. If you can get the word out, that's the little Illinois bragging rights bowl for us. So 2 Division II teams in Illinois. So if you see you guys out there, let me know. I'll get you some tickets, and we'll hopefully fill up Lehman.
Well, absolutely. We'll try to get a crew out there again. Maybe we can get 10 or 12 more people to go with us. Jake, I appreciate it. As always, can't wait to talk to you again. Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
It's no problem, Jake. We'll see you later.
Bye.
All right, that was Jake Stevenson, center, number 57 from McKendree University. Tough loss tough loss on Saturday, but it was a great game, and we know that they'll bounce back. They've got a great program down there. But we're going to go ahead and move on. Let's shift gears here to this. We haven't talked about the MLB in a couple weeks here, gentlemen. So let's go ahead and get into that. Red Sox, they've already clinched their playoff spot a couple weeks ago. Nothing new there. We know Houston's probably going to come away with their division, as well as I just drew a blank there. The other division in the American League.
Cleveland,
thank you. Yeah, the one that obviously doesn't matter. That's why I forget about it. So, yeah, they're going to walk away with theirs. Probably not going to do much in the playoffs. So the American League's pretty much set. We know Boston is more than likely going to come out, right? But when we shift down to the Central, or not the NL Central, the National League, excuse me, we have the Cubs. I think they have a 2.5 game lead on the Brewers right now. Cardinals 4.5 games back. And then the Dodgers I think they took a half-game lead on the Rockies in the West.
Nope.
Half game behind.
They're
half game behind.
They gained half a game.
Yeah, I couldn't remember how the standings were last night. And then, of course, you got the Braves pulling away from the Phillies like they have been the past few weeks. So with all of that going on, what is your biggest takeaway from the past few weeks since we haven't really touched on the MLB as much?
Boston's too good. They're too strong. They're the first team to clinch. They clinched, Tyson, last week or the week before? I think something like that.
I think it was the week before. I think they'd won enough games that it didn't matter.
What I'm most concerned about and most excited to see is there's 2 games that absolutely cannot wait to watch. It's a team that my dad's been raving about all season. It's going to be the Oakland Athletics and the New York Yankees in the wild card game. Hopefully, as everything's going right now, we got 2 weeks left in the season, as Gavin said. That's who more than likely is going to be left in the playoffs or for the wild card spot in the American League. But something else that me and Tyson like to see is we have 2 teams, tied for the second wild card place in the National League, and being the Dodgers and the Cardinals, with the Brewers with the lead. So I don't know. The National League wildcard game is going to be fun to watch. We may get 3 NL Central teams in the playoffs, but I still feel like the American League wildcard game is going to be fun too, because I want to watch the A's take it to the Yankees.
Yeah, absolutely. We can see that if there's anything I can take away to answer your question, Gavin, this NL race is never over. The AL race has been over probably since about day 1. But since then, the NL race has been tight since it started. We can see the Cubs still on top. Not as much of a lead as we would have liked, same as it was a couple weeks ago when they were up 4 on the Brewers. They're up 2.5, still got a decent lead. Haven't had an off day in a while. Losing some games here and there, but still maintaining. Really, the only thing we see that's not as close anymore is that NL East, the Braves and Phillies. Braves pulling away with it. But the other 2 divisions are tight still. The wild card spot, extra tight. It's going to come down to the last game or 2 of the season until we finally see who's going to come out in the NL.
It may come down to records as well.
Yeah,
that could be very possibly a big possibility. But that being said, Tyson, I want to talk about one thing. We are a pro Cubs podcast.
Yep.
Very pro Cubs. We'll talk about the Cardinals, but we're very pro Cubs. Go Cubbies. There was an incident that took place, I believe it was Sunday afternoon, with Wilson Contreras. Here I am saying that people that don't run to the bags, no matter what, should not be on a major league roster. And then one of my favorite players on the Cubs turns around, he does it. So let's give you a little background if you didn't see it. He hit us. He smoked the ball. It was an absolute nuke that he sent out to I think it was
straight
left
center.
Straight
center field. Yeah.
Okay, so a nuke. I mean, he launched it. He turned around, he just dropped his bat, did the old bat flip, and watched it go.
Yep.
Literally just stood at home plate and watched
there.
it.
I counted it. I watched the replay. It was probably 3 seconds. Realized, oh, God, it's not going to leave the park like I thought it was going to. So then I was like, I better run. So he only ended up with a double when he could have ended
barely
up with
a double.
triple.
He almost got out.
About got tagged.
If the throw was accurate, he would have been tagged.
So that being said, Wilson Contreras has been in a slump for the last couple months, but you can't. I think what it was is he was amazed that he hit the ball that hard, honestly, and he just had a lapse in judgment. But at the same time, we're only 2.5 games ahead of the Brewers. We can't really be sitting here and not running to the bases. We need every base runner we can get.
Well, and this was also supposedly going to be the first home run he had hit in a few weeks. So
first home run since August 1st, to be
like
exact.
So there's a month and a half. So I actually, fun fact, did not know it was that long. I just knew it was a while
It's been
ago.
a minute. He's only hit 2 since the All-Star break.
The month of August, he was batting 133.
Wow.
That's not Wilson. See, that's the thing that's what I'm saying is he hit the ball so hard and he's been in this big slump. He's just like, okay, well, I hit the ball, let's go. I don't know, man. We can't have that. It was the whole premise of it.
Well, no, because I think that costs them tying the game.
Yeah.
Because if he comes around and gets a triple, then he's forced to go. I forget who was the runner on third at that moment in time. That forces him to come around.
David Bodie.
Yeah.
That forces Bodie to come home, and then you got a 2-2 ball game, and that changes everything.
Yep.
So yeah, I definitely agree 100% with what you're saying. I don't know why he did it either. I mean, like we saw, who was it, Bryce Harper earlier this year do it, walking to first base or whatever. That was
half-assed effort. Sorry for the language.
No, yeah, that's what it was.
That's what Wilson gave.
Yeah,
I don't think it was a half-assed effort. Once he realized it wasn't leaving, he busted his ass to get that double. I think it was just a lapse in judgment at the beginning.
He smoked that ball, though.
Everyone thought it was gone. It just so happened that it wasn't. Yeah, the wind was blowing in. So I don't think it was a half effort because we saw how hard he busted it to get that double afterwards. I think he just had a momentary lapse of judgment.
So going off of that, do you think that Joe Madden ripping him for that, did Wilson deserve it?
Oh,
or did he
yeah.
not
Yes.
deserve it? Okay.
I'm not big on players showboating after anything, no matter the sport. I don't really care for it. So I don't have a problem with Joe Madden ripping him for it, especially because it didn't leave. If it did leave, whatever. But it didn't. So
well, if it goes out, then they're up 3-2. Joe Madden has nothing to complain about.
Right.
I mean, because the Reds didn't score the rest of the game. So I don't know. Was he right for ripping him because the ball came back and he was walking? Yes, I agree 100%. If it did leave, no. But yeah, definitely deserved an earful. I mean, we saw it with like I said, Bryce Harper. But I mean, even when he saw the ball dropping, he was still jogging to first base. He should have been in a dead sprint once he saw it coming down. But I guess I'm not out there on the field. It's hard to see. But
the whole thing is that we're only have a 2.5 game lead over the Brewers.
That's what it comes down to.
We need everything we can get, and guys not running when they should be running. Even if the ball's gone, you know it's gone. Like a Javier Baez or a Chris Bryant home run, gone. Still take off because you never know, especially playing at Wrigley Field. Tyson and I have watched the Cubs play at Wrigley Field our entire lives. That wind up there is unforgiving, especially when it's blowing in. So
well, that and I mean, I would have loved to have seen them sweep the Reds one time. As bad as the Reds are, I would like to see it one time.
Beat the Reds one time.
Well, they did. It was 2-1 in the series,
Yeah.
which was nice because of how they played Cincinnati the entire year. But a sweep of the worst team in that division, would have been nice to see. You know, plus it would have given them 3-game lead on the Brewers now, right?
yeah, so 3.
Yeah.
But coming up next, though, I'm not concerned. I don't want to say I'm 100% not concerned, but Monday, today, the 17th, we have a 3-game stint starting till Wednesday with Arizona. Then we go to Chicago. Funny enough saying that. We go crosstown showdown for 2 with the White Sox.
Technically still away games, right?
Yeah, because we're at the White Sox.
But at least they'll get to sleep in their own beds then.
True. They just got to drive back to the north side. So going off of that, Monday, that's September 24th through the 27th, we have a 4-game series with the Pirates. Something I'm concerned about is we have the Cardinals, our last 3 games of the year, the 28th through the 30th, at home. So I don't know. I'm a little concerned about the last 3 games because the Cardinals are so hot. But Arizona, good team. Don't discount them.
Well, it's another team trying to make the playoffs.
The White Sox, those are wins. Those are 2 or 3 wins.
Should be.
And hopefully we can take 2 from Pittsburgh. And then St. Louis, we got to win them all because we just got to beat St. Louis. It's just how it has to be.
And St. Louis, another team trying to make the playoffs. It just sucks that the Cubs have to go up against 2 playoff teams in the last 4 or 5 series left.
4.
It's 4. So, it's going to be tough, but they need these wins if they want to stay in first place.
We have not had a day off since, let's see, I'm clear back in August, minus the rainout we had, which we still had to go back and play. We have not had a day off since, I'm looking.
Well, you can't count the rainouts as a day off because then they had to play 2 games the next day.
Yeah, they played doubleheader and they had to travel back. So we had not had a day off since July 25th. That was our last day off.
So they've been playing straight for almost 2 months now.
Yeah, and that shows you right there too that you got to win as many games as you can in the beginning of the season, because this second half of the season, especially now, come September, is the worst half of the year. It's a big grind to get in the playoffs. So it just goes to show that we didn't win enough games at the beginning of the year to get a comfortable lead.
All right. Yeah. Well, with that said, we're going to go ahead and keep tabs on the Cubs as well as a few other teams. Like I said earlier, a couple weeks left before the playoffs actually get here. October's sneaking up on us quicker every day that passes by. But we need to.
It's almost October.
Oh, I can't, man. Yeah, it is crazy.
Playoff baseball, but
yeah.
This is Halloween.
Well, that and we're gonna have NHL coming up here pretty soon, as well as the NBA. So that'll be fun. Man, we're gonna have so much to talk about. Let's go ahead and shift gears to football here, though. University of Illinois, I guess, quote, hosting USF at Soldier Field.
Neutral.
Call it neutral, but it's still in the state. So, yeah.
Not a big turnout either.
No.
It was empty. Empty.
Which was surprising, too, because it was a nice day out, especially for being in Chicago. Nice and warm. Soldier Field, great place to play on. One of the few places that still uses grass in the NFL, like real grass.
Mm-hmm.
But no, Illinois, I think we were all pleasantly surprised that the game was even this close. They ended up losing 25-19 against USF. Illinois actually in the lead for the majority of this game, but what was your guys' initial reaction to this?
Good teams win, great teams cover.
Explain what you mean for the folks out there that don't know what you're talking about.
So, as you see, you got a plus and a minus for each team. So, like Illinois, they were like minus like 3.5, I think, or something like maybe it may have been even 4.5. So basically, if you're gambling,
Cale's a big sports bettor. In case anybody was wondering, he's got an issue,
a little bit of a problem. We're trying to get him into counseling.
Get out of here! I just know a lot about it. All right, get out of here with that. So anyway, I think the line was 4.5. So basically, USF was going to have to score what? It's 4.5. So they.
Is that 4.5 scores or points?
4.5 scores.
So they would have to put up 31 points more than Illinois.
So that did not happen, basically, because we only lost 25-19.
Right.
And I'm horrible at math, and everybody.
So if you bet the under, then you won some money because Illinois was within that 4.5.
Illinois covered.
Yep.
Good teams win, great teams cover. If you want to know more about gambling, I'll do a whole podcast on it. But yeah, so
stay
good teams
tuned
win,
for that
great
episode.
Teams cover.
And Illinois covered in a game that they weren't supposed to, so that's saying something.
In a game that we only had like a 34.5% chance of winning. So
yeah.
Great.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm just going to piggyback off that. I thought this team did a great job. Should have won this game, in all honesty.
Should have.
Yes. Too many field goals. Way too many field goals in this game. I think they had 4. If I'm not mistaken, 4 field goals and a touchdown.
Yep.
So if they can just, one other drive, probably would have put USF away if they were able to put the ball in the end zone. The only touchdown coming off a Mike Epstein, like 40-something yard
I think
breakaway run.
Yeah, it was like 46.
43.
43-yard touchdown run. Yeah, he had 113 yards on the day, ran it 19 times. That's pretty good average. Even with that breakaway run, 6 yards of carry is looking great. A.J. Bush, however, got pulled pretty early. M.J. Rivers.
20 for 29, by the way.
Heck of a game. Heck of a game from him.
168 yards.
Yep.
His quarterback rating's of 25 in that game. Because
Yeah.
he didn't throw a touchdown, obviously. But.
Right.
Yeah, bad, but the stats don't reflect how well he actually played. Especially, like we've mentioned this the past couple of weeks, just coming from a true freshman. Is really good to see. But, yeah, USF just, man, they're a tough team. But like you said, I think this is going to get Illinois some top 25 nods. I'm not going to say that they're going to be ranked, obviously, but they'll definitely get some looks. I would imagine they'll definitely be in the top 50 here soon. If they can put up a fight against Penn State, obviously not win, but if they can stay within a couple scores, that's going to speak volume to this team and what they're able to do.
That 25 quarterback rating, that, like Gavin said, that's absolutely not accurate.
Yeah.
I think Dak Prescott last night was 21 for 28 or something like that, so he had one more completion on one less attempt with similar yardage. I think he had 180 instead of 160.
We'll talk about that in a minute.
With one touchdown, and his quarterback rating was 96. So MJ Rivers sitting at a 25 for the game, that's ridiculous because he actually played really well. Put this team in a good position. Like we said, the field goals came back and bit them. But he set his team up to win. They were leading almost the whole game. The only time USF took the lead was the final quarter, final couple minutes, where they came down and scored a touchdown. But this was a really good game, competing with a decent team. A team that's getting votes at the top 25. They're just outside looking in right now. But that's not a bad loss at all. I would like to point out that I picked USF to win, and you two didn't. I know we're not keeping track of these games, but I'm 1-0.
Yeah, that's. I got to ride with Illinois, man. I just have to. You picked it. I knew they were going to win in the back of my head. I knew that was going to happen.
I'm messing.
Right.
But the fact that me and Gavin were talking about, and we were eating dinner after Jake's game, was the fact that we were in the lead
for a very long time.
For
majority of
the
this
half,
game.
3.5 quarters.
Yeah, and then in the fourth quarter, we fell apart. We unraveled. I don't know. So my takeaway from this game is the Fighting Illini, this roster showed us what we're made of. They show that they can perform. If they could have performed a little bit better in the red zone, honestly, then we would have probably been okay. But the fact, too, that we have Penn State at home next Saturday shows that we may not be able to hang with them, but we may be able to possibly put up a run against them. And I also, my last takeaway from it, Gavin, is that MJ Rivers needs to stay taking snaps.
Yes, that's one thing I would agree with. I didn't expect a true freshman to come out and outplay a junior quarterback that's had Big Ten experience before, ACC experience before. I'm not sure what A.J. Bush's issue is. I'm wondering if he's still hurt from that first game. But if that's the case, then there's no reason why they shouldn't put him on IR and let the freshman come in and start. He did really well against Western. He held his own in this game against USF. We've already complimented the running backs of Illinois over and over again. Reggie Corbin, Mike Epstein, these guys are studs. And I think we should touch on Ricky Smalling real quick. He had a pretty good game. Senior wide receiver, right? Or is he a junior?
Ricky Smalling's a junior.
Junior wide receiver. He's really all we have at that position as of right now that's worth mentioning. I mean, the production, he's been pretty solid week in and week out. Other than that game against Kent State, I mean, he had one really good catch for 20-plus yards, but after that it was kind of quiet. Ever since then, he's been productive, and that's what Illinois needs. I do think he needs to step up a little bit because once we go up against Big Ten play, they're going to figure out how to stop our run game, and when MJ is forced to throw the football, we're going to be in trouble.
I'm going to throw some other stats at you. One stat that we need to improve on is total yards. USF moved the ball 626 yards. We moved it 380, so almost less than half.
I was going to point that out, too. That's what killed us.
They got outplayed. They did. But
for getting outplayed that bad, it was still extremely close.
There's some good things that came over. USF turned the ball over twice to our one. Our possession time, we were at 32 minutes and 40 seconds. They were at 27 minutes and 20 seconds. So we actually possessed the ball a lot longer than they did.
Well, what's negative about that is they were able to get that many yards in less than 30 minutes.
That's the negative thing.
Right.
First downs, they killed us. They were at 31. We were at 21. We got to improve our first down. We got to improve our red zone offense. We got to improve our defense, especially our secondary. And we have to improve on being able just to move the ball upfield.
Well, this is one thing that I thought was great was the Illinois defense was able to get 2 interceptions off of a really good quarterback. Forget his name, Blake Barnett. Yeah, I mean he had a really good first couple games, and then going against the Illinois defense, they were able to take the ball away twice.
Yep.
So that's got to give them some confidence, especially those freshmen back there in the secondary.
Yeah, absolutely. My takeaway, honestly, overall, is that it was a good game. Great for Illinois. We hung with them. We had the lead for the most of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Fourth quarter, it's just the way of the road.
Yeah.
It's the way it goes. Fourth quarter was terrible. It was abysmal. I'm not going to sit here. It lost us the game. But I'm already focused on, if I'm these guys, I'm already focused on Penn State. This game made them. It didn't break them. So
absolutely, yeah. I'm definitely looking forward to Penn State now.
Which we'll talk about Friday.
Yeah, I don't think that we'll get killed by 40 or 50 points. It definitely should be a lot closer. Now, whether or not we can hold Penn State under 40 points is yet to be seen, especially with as many points and as potent as their offense has been the first 3 games of the season. But if Illinois can put more than 19 points on the board and stop coming away with field goals instead of touchdowns, I think they should be in good shape.
Absolutely.
But let's go ahead and shift gears here once again, staying with football. Let's talk about the NFL before we get into our high school predictions for last week on Friday. We need to start with Tyson, you and me called this at the beginning of the season, and we were dead wrong. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers starting the season 2-0, and we both picked them to go 2-14 and 3-13 respectively.
Yep.
They've already got my win total for what I called 3 weeks ago, or about a month ago. And they have taken down the New Orleans Saints, who
won the division last year.
Not only won the division, a few sportscasters have picked to make it to the Super Bowl from the NFC. And then back over on Sunday in the afternoon, they went and took out the defending champion Philadelphia Eagles, which I know that you're happy about, but that takes some skill, and it's all because of one man, and that's Ryan Fitzpatrick. Fitzmagic. The man has thrown 8 touchdowns and one interception in his first 2 games, won both of his games, has over 800 yards, close to 900 yards passing. Where did this come from? I just want to know how impressed you are with Tampa Bay, because they have by far I can't even speak. I'm so blown away with their performance.
I don't even have an answer for that. I don't think anybody saw this coming. No one predicted this. No one even knew Ryan Fitzpatrick was on that team and was going to be starting in place of Jameis Winston. Like, this dude.
Jameis who?
Yeah. I couldn't tell you the last time Ryan Fitzpatrick played a game. I know it was with the Jets probably 3 years ago or something. I don't know. This dude hasn't played. When he does play, he doesn't play very well, and all of a sudden he comes out here and he's just balling. He can't do anything wrong. That interception, I'm sure, was by design to set him up for a different touchdown at some point down the. Like, this dude can do no wrong right now, and his team is helping him out tremendously.
I tell you what gets me is, it seems whenever this guy gets paid, is he gets in a comfort zone, or he can't handle the pressure of being a starting quarterback in the NFL. But now that he's in this situation in Tampa Bay with Jameis Winston serving that 3-game suspension, there's no pressure on him whatsoever. No one expected the Bucks to do anything, and that's why we picked him to do so poorly. I think I picked him to actually be the worst team in the NFL this year.
Yep.
And
right up there with the Bengals.
Yeah, and look at them, 2-0.
Also 2-0.
We'll be talking about them on Friday as well. But man, yeah, this guy, he just, I guess when there's no pressure and there's nothing left to lose, he plays like the best quarterback in the league. And I just can't put 2 and 2 together when it comes to this guy.
I got a question for both of you, because your guys' NFL knowledge and football knowledge is exponentially a lot more vast than mine is. What's it mean for Winston?
Oh, he's done.
He's done?
He's done.
That's the question. I've been thinking to myself all week.
When Fitzpatrick plays this next game and he wins and he goes 3-0, and Jameis has to come back against Chicago will lose to the Buccaneers. I'm calling it right now.
9 times out of 10, I would say it doesn't matter. Jameis Winston's the guy they're paying. He's there for a reason. He's their starting quarterback. They've literally been planning for him to come back after week 3. But I think you run into a similar situation, not the exact same situation, of Dak Prescott, Tony Romo. Tony Romo did absolutely nothing wrong to lose his spot.
Besides get hurt, but he can't control it.
Right. He did nothing wrong to lose that spot. When he came back, the coach said, sorry, you can't have it back because this guy's playing so good. And I think that's what's going to happen. You did nothing wrong to lose the spot except get suspended because you're a
idiot.
And,
yeah.
But, yes, he shouldn't have got suspended and whatnot, but he didn't do anything play-wise to lose his spot, but Ryan Fitzpatrick has done everything to gain that spot. He's done everything to prove that he deserves that spot as of right now.
So when Winston comes back, do they play Winston? Because they've now got they got a little bit of trade value in Fitzpatrick, right?
They could, but if they want to keep winning, they'll start Ryan Fitzpatrick.
I say you start Fitzpatrick till he makes one mistake. You pull him, you put Winston in, and you trade Fitzpatrick while you got some value still.
See, you could, but even if you trade Fitzpatrick for a piece, we know the quarterback is the most important position on the team. I mean, let's just say it like it is. If he's winning games for you, let's say when Jameis comes back, they'll be 3-0. Let's say they beat the Bears week 4 and they're 4-0. I mean, they've got to be sitting there, especially in that division with Atlanta, Carolina, and the Saints. They're all 1-1. And they're going to be undefeated up until this point. I mean, if the Bears beat them, or if they lose week 3, I forget who their week 3 opponent is. If they do lose that game, I will be flabbergasted. But there should be absolutely no way this team shouldn't be 4-0 going into week 5. And if they decide to pull him for whatever reason, Tampa Bay is the dumbest organization in football.
Yep.
I got nothing else to say. I really don't. I mean, let's just move on and take it for what it is. I love this guy. I can't wait to watch him next week against whatever victim he decides to take next.
So, speaking of quarterbacks, I want to stay on quarterbacks real quick.
Sure.
I want to start with the big elephant in the room. So it's kind of funny. Carson Wentz for the Philadelphia Eagles has yet to be activated, but he just got activated for week 3 after they lost to the Bucks. So that makes me think that Nick Foles was going to get the opportunity, and they're going to keep Wentz maybe until he's 100%. Everybody says he's 100%, but we don't know. Only he knows. So maybe they're going to keep him on the bench till Nick Foles lost. Well, Nick Foles just lost to the Bucks, so now is an optimal time to bring Wentz back. What's your guys' takes on that?
Here's the thing is that Nick Foles, like Tyson said, didn't do anything wrong in this game. Didn't throw any interceptions.
Ryan Fitzpatrick's just done everything right.
Exactly. He's just played better than every other quarterback he's gone up against, which is only 2, but it's 2 more than Nick Foles has done.
He's played better than almost every quarterback in the league thus far, besides Patrick Mahomes.
Who's
how do you?
Yeah, that's a little weird too.
Yeah, that's a story for a different day, and I will apologize to him formally whenever I can. The Chiefs are not the dumpster fire of the AFC anymore.
They beat the Steelers.
Yeah, let me just stick with this real quick. Nick Foles, 35 of 48 for 334 yards. No interceptions, 1 touchdown. That should be good enough to win you a football game if you have a decent running game, right? You got a solid defense. You got a top 5 defense in Philly. It just comes down to Ryan Fitzpatrick. There's Nick Foles done nothing wrong to lose his starting job. If the Eagles are that concerned and they want to rush Carson Wentz back before his knee is ready, it doesn't affect me any. I mean, it's if he's ready or not. I personally wouldn't start him unless things were getting really bad. It's only week 2. They're still 1-1. They don't have a losing record. I think that this is probably an overreaction to a loss to a hot team right now, a hot quarterback.
I think people are assuming that they're activating Carson Wentz because they lost a game, but Carson Wentz said he will not play until he's healthy. The Eagles said he will not play until he's healthy. They didn't care if Nick Foles went 0-12. They didn't care if Nick Foles was 12-0. If he was healthy, Carson Wentz was playing. He wasn't healthy the first 2 weeks. I think that's all this comes down to. He finally feels healthy. He's been cleared by team doctors, team trainers, and he's cleared himself. He's ready to go, and I think it just so happens that it comes after the game they lost. But I don't think this has anything to do with Nick Foles or how he's played. I think Carson Wentz is ready. It's his team. We know that.
Last thing I want to touch on in the NFL, we're going to wrap it up with this, is, 2 more things. We still got to talk about the Cowboys. So real quick, Josh Gordon, let's talk about the Browns. Josh Gordon got released.
Supposedly released.
Released, and supposedly he just got traded. So we all know Josh Gordon's had his off-the-field issues, but the reason why he got released or traded was that he showed up to a meeting late. We don't know why, but that's what I've been hearing.
I thought he got hurt at a photo shoot or something for a clothing line.
He's something with his hamstring.
And it wasn't endorsed by the team. He pulled his hamstring or something at a photo shoot, not endorsed by the team.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And that was the reason he was late to this meeting.
He broke the team's trust is what they said.
Okay. So, but like I said, we all know what happens with him off of the field and all that good stuff or bad stuff, whatever you want to portray it as. But supposedly he just got traded to the Pats to a 2019 fifth-round pick. What's your guys' takeaways?
This guy hasn't played very much the last couple years, but we've seen what he can do when he does play. And to say that he's only worth a fifth-round pick, good on the Patriots, I guess. I wonder what everybody else offered that they got him for that low of a price. Because it couldn't have been very good. But 1, I don't know why the Browns would keep him in the AFC. 2, I don't know why they trade him to the Patriots to make them even better. 3, I don't know why someone didn't offer them anything better. But Josh Gordon, phenomenal player when he's on the field. But there is always that risk with him.
I thought initially that when the reports came out that he would either be in San Francisco or in Dallas.
Yep.
Because we know that Jerry Jones likes to sign troubled players, especially on offense.
Yep.
And Josh Gordon fits the bill perfectly. I guess he just wasn't willing to give up enough. Just like he wasn't willing to come off a second-round pick for Earl Thomas, but that's an argument for a different day. Sticking to Josh...
Earl Thomas will be in Dallas next year anyways.
I hope so.
No, he'll be in Dallas after week 4 after Seattle plays Dallas.
I hope so.
Pete Carroll's in that locker room saying, I can't trade you until we play you.
Yep.
So,
yeah, if that is true, I hope that's the case because they need it on the defensive end, and we'll get to that in a second. But getting back to Josh Gordon, I think this is great for Tom Brady if he can talk some sense into Josh and showing up, being responsible, trusting the organization, and staying off the weed. Shout out to Stephen A. Smith for that one. But yeah, like Tyson says, this guy hasn't played much in a couple of years. All the potential in the world. This guy could be a world-class wide receiver in the NFL, but he chooses not to be. Go ahead.
No, I'm just...
Oh, okay. It blows my mind with a guy that has this much talent, this much potential to be great, and just chooses to throw it away because of silly things, And hopefully being in that organization, we know that the New England Patriots are an organization that keeps everything under wraps. Everything is straight line, and it's run from the top down. It's like a military organization.
Well, I can tell you 3 people that won't have that. They will not put up with that, and you already mentioned one, Tom Brady.
Right.
Will not. You're on his team. You're on his offense. You want to play with him, better straighten up. 2, Bill Belichick. Will not have that. You think, and 3, Robert Kraft, the owner. He will not have any of that shenanigans on his team. But if you think anyone else made that decision besides Bill Belichick, you're wrong, because he made that decision. He has complete control of the reins. Bill Belichick said, bring him here and I will tame him and I will make him play. And he will be good and he will do exactly as he's told. And I believe that completely. I think Josh Gordon will go there. I think he will be straight as an arrow. And I think this will be a major turnaround for him.
He either will be or he'll be gone, because we've seen it in the past when they tried to sign Chad Johnson.
Yep.
He was on the roster for like 4 or 5 games, and then Belichick booted him out of town because he couldn't get his act together. And that also because I love Chad Johnson, but he's a ball hog. Especially, I'll tell you what, man, real quick, when him and Terrell Owens were on the Cincinnati Bengals together for that season, I'll tell you what, that was like one of the most fun years to watch football. But go ahead.
I'm going to highlight this real quick. Let's move on. I'm going to talk about kickers. Bad weekend for kickers. Man, it was a horrible weekend.
Incredible bad.
So the Vikings waived Daniel Carlson, their place kicker.
Thank God.
Terrible.
Man.
Sign Dan Bailey.
They just did. They signed Dan Bailey today.
Yes!
So they signed
Yes!
Vikings waived kicker Daniel Carlson to sign Dan Bailey.
Oh,
They
thank God.
They signed Dan Bailey. So going off of that, you got Daniel Carlson shaking him left, right, whatever. You got Zane Gonzalez for the Browns, who's lost them 2 games now.
Yep.
Bad week for kickers, man.
God, I wish Dan Bailey would have gone to the Browns.
The Browns just signed a rookie. I've never even heard of him before, but they just signed
What's his name?
Joseph is his last name.
Anyone's better than the guy that they had.
No kidding.
Shanking an extra point for the win.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
Greg Joseph, excuse me.
Okay.
That's who they just signed. They released Gonzalez Monday afternoon, and then the Vikings released Carlson Monday.
No, I think they released him the second after that kick was missed, but
Yep.
I think they couldn't file the paperwork until today.
Don't walk to the locker room. Just walk home.
Yeah.
We'll even let you keep the pads.
Take a page out of the Bills cornerback book. Just leave it at
Vontae
halftime.
Davis.
Just leave it at halftime.
Retire at halftime.
Yes.
Done.
I'll retire.
Goodness,
Retire at halftime.
I really don't want to see Dan Bailey in that NFC North division, but good on the Vikings for getting themselves a kicker, because God knows they needed one in that Green Bay game.
Most accurate kicker in NFL history.
But the Cowboys want to let him
Go
go.
Dan Bailey.
So last night, America's game, we all piled into Tyson's living room over in Champaign and watched the Cowboys take on the Giants. Tyson, you're a Cowboys super fan. What'd you think of Dak and Zeke and your defense last night?
I'm still under-enthused with the play calling. I am much more impressed with Dak running the ball several times last night instead of the one time he did in week 1. We saw the difference it made. It kept the defense on their toes. It opened his wide receivers up. Also made a lot better throws. He was incredibly accurate. Like I said, I think he was 21 for 28, something like that. Not bad.
16 to 25 for 160.
16 to 25. Okay. Still not bad. 160 yards. I would like to see him throw 240 yards, but if you don't need to, you don't need to.
He also had 45 rushing yards.
Yep. And Zeke had 17 carries for 89 yards.
79 yards.
79 yards. So once again, they failed to get Zeke 20 carries. He didn't get 20 carries. He didn't get 100 yards. I would like to see the ball in Zeke's hands 20, 25 times a game, at least. That's really my one complaint from last night, is that they're still not getting him. Feed the beast. He's there for a reason. Other than that, the defense was outstanding. They gave up 3 points until the last 2 minutes when it literally didn't even matter.
Yeah, garbage time.
Odell Beckham had 9 targets, 4 catches, and 47 yards, 51 yards.
I'm checking that right now.
Something like
4
that.
catches for 51 yards.
4 catches, 51 yards on 9 targets. Mm-hmm. You're telling me that's a $100 million man? I'm gonna stop there for this week. But 50 yards, you're paying this guy over almost $20 million a year. Yeah, right. What a joke.
Especially against, and no offense, against the Cowboy secondary that's not good.
They have been tremendously, phenomenally, incredibly bad for seasons. There's been no words to describe how awful their secondary has been for years. Odell Beckham's got his one catch against the Cowboys because it was so bad. Shout out Terrence Newman. But I don't know. The defense was so good. They sacked Eli Manning 6 times last night by 6 different players. Everybody was getting there. Made him fumble once.
For a net total of negative 59 yards.
Yeah, it was just absolutely insane. It was a great game. That's the game they needed. Offense still needs to get rolling. 20 points isn't bad, but I really would have liked to see them put up 40 against the Giants. I would have liked to see them put up 40 against anybody that week because they have that capability.
Real quick, reoccurring guest Jake Stevenson just texted me and said he wanted to clarify something. September 29th, his game against Quincy is at Quincy and not Lehman Field in McKendree, or Lebanon, Illinois at McKendree University. Sorry. Just wanted to clarify that.
That's okay. Yeah, if you are interested, make sure that you go support the McKendree Bearcats and Jake Stevenson. Getting back to Dallas, though, this always seems to happen, Tyson. The Cowboys, whenever they play on Sunday night or Monday Night Football, whenever the spotlight is on, they seem to underperform on the offensive side of things, and I don't know why. And I don't mean that in a negative sense because they still win games, but they always seem to stick around the 17, 24-point mark.
Well, and the funny thing is they always play like that against the Giants, too.
Yes.
I think the last 3 years the games against the Giants have been 21-20, 20-19, and like 24-20 or something like. It's always somewhere right around 20 points. They're always close against the Giants. They never put up as many points as they should. But I think we saw good sparks. We saw what they can do. First 2 minutes of the game, we saw Dak throw a 64-yard touchdown to Tavon Austin. And we see exactly what they can do. We see the threats he's got on the outside. It's just a matter of getting them open and getting the ball to him.
Well, and real quick, one guy I want to touch on because he played for the Chicago Bears last season. Deontay Thompson had 4 receptions last night for 33 yards. I think this is another guy that Dak can look to. I don't think we saw him very much in Game 1 against Carolina, but definitely an outlet guy. He's kind of a Cole Beasley type player, slot guy, short, out route,
Well,
drags.
I think every time he caught the ball, it was on 3rd and 9. Mm-hmm. Got him a first down. He was incredible last night. Always found a way to get open when we needed him to.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how he plays out with that team going forward. I think Dallas got a steal signing him away from the Bears in the offseason. But real quick, before we get into the last NFL topic and we talk about our high school football predictions, the Bears play the Seahawks tonight, Monday, September 17th, and the Cowboys play the Seahawks on Sunday. Now, me and Cale are pulling for the Bears to win big in this one. We're at Soldier Field, coming off a close loss against Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers. The Cowboys have to go to Seattle. They have to play at the 12th man. Russell Wilson can be shifty. We know that. He's got the most touchdown passes last year at the quarterback position, and he's a heck of a runner. He's very mobile. How can this Cowboys secondary contain a quarterback like that and continue this winning streak going into Week 3?
I don't think it's a question about the Cowboys secondary. I think it's a question of putting pressure on Russell Wilson. We saw what happened when we got pressure on Eli Manning. He crumbled. I hope everybody's seen that picture. He looks absolutely terrified, and that was only after the second sack. But if we can get pressure on Russell Wilson, there's nothing he can do to make that secondary look bad. If he can't get the ball out of his hands or down the field, they don't even have to play. If we can get guys back to the quarterback in 2-3 seconds like we were doing against the Giants, it shouldn't be a problem. But really, the only things that the secondary can do, keep playing. Keep that swagger. They've been playing with confidence so far this season. And I think holding both teams, they're averaging 14.5 points now. 14.5 points a game on defense. That's not bad at all. Average for an NFL team, I would say, is probably somewhere 22 points a game.
It's around 21 points a game, yeah.
For letting up on your defense. So keeping that down to 14, 2 touchdowns a game, I'll give Russell Wilson 2 touchdowns. No problem.
It's just, can the Cowboys put it in the end zone twice?
Right.
That's the question.
But as long as the defense can keep doing what they're doing, keep that swag, keep the confidence, the defense knows they're driving this team so far this year, and I think they'll keep on.
All right, for sure.
Bears are going to win tonight.
Yeah, no, I just want to get that plug out there. Colin Cowherd, I know you picked. I know you're not listening to me, but I know you picked Seattle to win this game tonight. You're going to be dead wrong. I can't wait for the Chicago Bears
Khalil
to blow
Mack,
out.
Roquan Smith playing all snaps tonight.
All snaps. I don't think he got that memo. But
Bobby Wagner for the Seahawks is also out.
and Doug Baldwin is also
Doug
out.
Baldwin also out, and they've got another receiver that's out. KJ Wright is out.
He's also out.
Two of their
So-
starting receivers and their best defensive player, not named Earl Thomas, is out.
Yeah, so good luck, Colin Cowherd. The Seahawks won't score more than 17 points tonight. I guarantee that. Dub Bears. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on here. Definitely looking forward to that game, and we will be talking about that on Friday as well as the New York Jets and Cleveland Browns matchup on Thursday Night Football coming up on Friday. But let's wrap it up here. Let's get into our Central Illinois high school football predictions from last Friday. Go ahead, Tyson.
All right, our first game of the week was Centennial and Danville. I finally predicted a Centennial game right. A game where I picked against them. Me and Cale both went with Danville. Gavin unfortunately took Centennial in this one.
That was a bad week for me.
Yeah, you're going to notice a trend here in a little bit. Gavin had a rough week. But our next game, Central versus Urbana. Sorry, Julius, I went against you. I don't know if I cursed you guys or what. But Central brought out the big guns. They won 42-14. Laid the wood on them. I was the only one that went with Central this week. But moving on, we had Taylorville against Mahomet.
Real quick, I just need to say congratulations to the Central Maroons taking home the Wright Street Trophy for this year.
Beating both Centennial and Urbana this year. So good on them.
Pretty big feat.
But Mahomet against Taylorville, Mahomet ended up losing 26-38.
I got one.
It was a lot closer at the beginning, or it wasn't as close at the beginning. Taylorville started to run away with it, but Mahomet made a little bit of a comeback, ended up losing still. But we all went with Taylorville this week. I think we all knew that was going to happen. But good win for Taylorville. Next game up was Monticello Rantoul.
Murder.
Enough said. Again, 50-0. We're just going to leave that there. PBL against Seneca was our next game up. We were split on this one again. Gav went Seneca. Me and Cale went with the alma mater, old Paxton Buckley.
I think I need to start putting some more respect on those Panthers.
Put some respect on that name.
Yeah, I need to.
But PBL, the Panthers, they won 32-16, doubled up on Seneca. I said Seneca was going to get a welcome to our division tonight, or I guess it was last night. They played on Sunday instead of Saturday, or Saturday instead of Friday.
That's a long drive from Paxton. Seneca.
Yeah. But Seneca got to warm up to how we actually play in division instead of against Dwight. But good win for PBL, 3-1 on the season, moving on up. And St. Joe against Unity. I want to say this one was like 32-0 at halftime. St. Joe ended up winning 38-14, a game that usually should be close, and Cale said it last week, or on Friday. Unity just is not very good so far this year.
0-4 now on the season.
We all went with St. Joe, another win for everybody. This game kind of tore me up a little bit. STM versus IVC, Chillicothe.
I couldn't believe it.
42-41. St. Thomas More took home the W this week. Cale, the only one that went with St.
Let's
Thomas
go.
More, the Sabres.
There's always one game
I
every
know,
week that
every
he takes,
week.
and I can't believe it.
But Cale's the only one that got that right. We lost by a point there, Gavo. I can't believe that. But the game that shocked me and us and the world the most, Tuscola getting beat down by St. Teresa.
Not
28-56.
Destroyed.
St. Teresa doubled them up.
Yeah.
There's just not words that I can say to describe what just happened. We all went Tuscola. We were all wrong.
I can't believe St. Teresa put up 56 points on Tuscola's defense. I'm still dumbfounded. I can't put together words to describe the feeling.
I figured our offense would be somewhere around Tuscola's around 28. I figured it'd be a pretty close game around 28.
28, 30 points, you know.
Yeah. But to give up 56, that's unheard of for their defense.
They must have went down early and just given up. I didn't get a chance to catch the game, but they must have just thrown in the towel because there's no excuse for letting if you're a defending state champion and you get scored on by 56 points, that is unacceptable.
I think that's more than they let up all of last year total.
Yeah.
But moving on, we had Arcola against Arthur Lovington at Wood Hammond. We all went with Arcola in that one. Put up the win, 27-7. Not a very good team, Arthur Lovington there. So good win for Arcola, putting them where they belong. And GCMS Fieldcrest was our last game of the week.
Another murder.
48-6. If you guys remember the episode on Friday, I predicted that score to be 55-6. I was a touchdown short, and I'm a little salty about that. But GCMS taking home another big win against a team they usually beat up on.
Yeah, we just kind of had to throw another game in there. We kind of knew the outcome before it happened, but yeah, that's what we're going
Trantina, the Gibson City quarterback, he's up for the WCIA Player of the Week. Played an outstanding game. Go ahead and throw down a vote for him or whoever else you think is deserving. There's 3 of them. I can't remember who the other 2 are, but Trantina played absolutely outstanding this week.
Absolutely. So that's going to go ahead and wrap it up. Do you have the totals for last week at the top?
I do. Cale and I both went 8-2 on the week. Gavin, unfortunately, 5-5. I think that closes the gap between us two. I think we're now tied.
I think we are tied.
I'm in the lead.
And I think Cale's up by 3 games now, 4 games now.
Yeah. There's always one game a week, man.
I'll take that 3-game cushion.
rough.
Jeez.
Let's go.
I don't know how you do it either. You always pick the one game that we're like, no, there's no way they can win. And then, of course, they pull out a 1-point win.
22.
Jeez. Anyway, that's going to go ahead and do it for us here today. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure that you guys comment down below. Go ahead and leave us a thumbs up if you enjoyed, or a thumbs down. We enjoy all criticisms, but please leave a thumbs up because it really helps our channel grow. And maybe consider hitting that big red subscribe button down below and hitting the bell icon to the right of it to turn on notifications so you do not miss a beat. Also, don't forget to follow us on our social media on Twitter at sports_twin. With that said, my name is Gavin Campbell. That was Tyson Snyder, Cale Fleming. We will see you guys next time.
Peace.
Based upon the view, you can't have too much trouble. So why can't we do it? Everybody's doing it. Let's start the fireworks, stand back and enjoy it. Oh, oh. Bomb to